What is happening at JGame Dude here? And I've got this VGC article here by Chris Scullion talking about how iOS ports of Resi 4, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and Death Stranding have sold poorly as per estimates made by mobile gaming companies. So, it's clear that people who own high-end iPhones are just not in any rush to actually buy games that are very prolific and high quality here on consoles. And I look at this and I think to myself immediately the whole idea of the race to the bottom, where mobile games are all free to play and then they kind of upcharge you from there, because the idea is to get people in at the lowest possible cost, feed them a bunch of mediocrity or low quality product, and then they just kind of have to deal with it. And if they want more or something better, you kind of need to pay a bit more for it. The same thing can be said for free-to-play games on the console space. What early access is to, at least to some extent, early access is to Steam and the PC platform, and pretty much what Xbox GamePass is to the Xbox platform. Just giving you a bunch of low-quality, mindless mush so that, you're pretty much swimming in sevens of mediocrity, and ultimately, when you are then asked to pay for something of a much higher price, not a lot of people, if anyone, is actually going to really bite. So let's actually look at this article, which actually has some numbers shared by, I think, a couple of companies like AppMagic and stuff. Oh yeah, so this analysis was done by mobilegamer.biz, which is also under the same place as gamingindustry.biz. But yeah, that being said, it's from App Figures, the iOS port, and there was another one. Yeah, okay, let's just go with App Figures. iOS ports for Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed Mirage have failed to sell well, despite Apple featuring them during their keynote presentation last year. However, even with this in mind, App Figures estimates suggest that while Assassin's Creed Mirage has been downloaded over 123,000 times, it's only made around 138,000 in gross revenue. So pretty much I think the idea is that downloads don't necessarily refer to revenue, because you could delete a game off your phone and then re-download it again. So I think it's probably fair to say that even though it's only been downloaded 123,000 times, the amount of actual money made, if divided by $50, which is what it says here is how much you're paying for it, is probably going to be a lot less. This suggests fewer than 3,000 people went on to actually buy the full game. So I guess they kind of offer a free-ish version. Similar calculations based on App Figures estimates suggest around 7,000 iPhone users paid for Resident Evil 4, 5,750 have paid for Resident Evil Village, and around 10,600 have paid for Death Stranding, which I am shocked to see Death Stranding actually being the highest of the lot there. Wow, now that's really saying something right there. MobileGamer.biz does point out that these are merely estimates, and then notes that another data from AppMagic has higher figures, albeit still low in the grand scheme of things. According to AppMagic's estimates, Resident Evil 4 and Village have sold around 15k and 34k respectively on iOS, while Assassin's Creed Mirage has sold 5,750, which is actually Mirage. Yeah, no, that's yeah. Okay, so yeah, slightly higher numbers, and Death Stranding sold around 23,000. Regardless of that, these sales numbers are actually really poor, really low. And so it does kind of actually make me wonder, hey, if this mobile gaming lot are more accustomed to free-to-play games and the whole business model has kind of gone downhill, why on earth would they pay 50 solid USD for a single game? They might as well just buy it on console, which would be cheaper, to be completely honest, instead of playing on the iPhone, which seems less like a good idea, if I'm being completely honest, especially when we talk about games like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding, Assassin's Creed Mirage. Maybe Death Stranding is the only one that kind of really makes sense, but even then, paying $50 for it for a mobile gamer, it almost is tantamount to just not buying it at all, which is quite interesting. Let's see, what are the general ideas? So looking at the top performing mobile premium games, we see that many are originally indie titles, that these games typically feature simpler code, prioritize unique art style over high-end graphics, and are suited for shorter play sessions. These are usual attributes of successful free-to-play mobile games. Okay, so lack of attention as well. Let's kind of just keep going, but Zubov, which I think is from App Magic, yeah, also suggested that the situation wouldn't improve anytime soon, pointing out that players who can afford high-end iOS devices need to play these games would already be able to afford high-end PCs or consoles, and would therefore more likely buy these games on those platforms instead. For me, it seems like these markets will remain separate, at least for some time, he says. Players who can afford flagship mobile devices and $50 games are likely to have the resources to enjoy and play games on PC and console as well. On the other hand, players who can't afford gaming devices on high-performance mobile phones are less likely to make a one-time $50 purchase, which is exactly true. I definitely would agree with that. Reading is a lot harder than it looks, but effectively, I think that the mobile and console market, as suggested by Zubov from App Magic, or mobilegamer.biz, I should say, is pretty much on the money, because I feel like the actual way in which games are being presented, free-to-play games look like poison on console because they are marked up by way of microtransactions and things like that, battle passes, season passes, and whatever have you, additional types of passes. But the thing is that that's actually the norm on mobile, and mobile gamers are more than happy to spend tons and tons of money on individual games within the games that they already play. But if they aren't given a chance to actually play those games beforehand, then they're significantly less likely to actually pay large amounts of money for them. Again, it just feels like a poor value proposition for the mobile gamer. And I kind of also said it with Xbox GamePass as well. If you pay for Game Pass for like $15 for a single month and you get access to a ton of games, why on earth would you ever want to buy another game ever again when you can just wait for it to eventually come on Game Pass, which is that poison mentality that is also brought from having constant subscriptions everywhere that are provided in the exact same way, which is why when I look at Game Pass, I think PS Plus does it better, where yes, they do provide you with a bunch of games as long as you keep remaining subscribed. However, games are separately purchasable if you want to purchase them separately, and first party games aren't going to immediately come to the service, and when they do, it'll be so further later on down the line that you might as well have just wasted your time waiting for it to eventually come to the service. And when it does, and that is if it even comes to the service, because that was never promised to begin with. But I digress. For me, this is all a case of the race to the bottom. Try and get as many people in at the lowest price possible, but ultimately that does cause a veritable collapse in overall quality and quantity of the actual product being made and provided to the actual consumer in the end. By trying to get more people in and trying to make more money, you need to sacrifice something, and more often than not, that is to some extent quality and quantity. But let me know what you guys think about all of that in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it. This was very much a me trying to put my finger on a pulse while randomly guessing little bits and pieces here and there. Again, this was far more of a thought experiment of a video than any of the other ones that I do generally tend to make, but I'm still interested to know what you guys think about all that in the comments. Like the video, like to subscribe to the channel, aiming for 300 subs by the end of the year. And with all that said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.